My summer reading book was The Bonesetter's Daughter, written by Amy Tan and published in 2001. The Fostorian elements I used are Chapter 23, It's Never Just Heart Disease and Rarely Just Illness, Chapter 26, Is He Serious and Other Ironies, and Chapter 12, Is That a Symbol? Chapter 23 of Thomas C. Foster's book dealt with 4 principles that govern the use of illness in literature. I will be focusing on the 3rd and 4th principle. The 3rd principle is it should be mysterious in origin. From the start of the novel, Ruth is aware that her mother has been misremembering words and situations, but Ruth assumes it was a symptom of her old age. As more and more accidents involving her mother occur, Ruth decides to take her to the doctor. It was there that Lu Ling was diagnosed with dementia. I think the Fostorian element applies because although Lu Ling was having memory issues for a while, Ruth never thought it was that bad. It felt mysterious and abrupt. The 4th principle is it should have strong symbolic or metaphorical possibilities. I believe dementia could be considered a wasting disease of both the body and mind. As patients grow older, their bodies deteriorate along with their minds and memories. Ruth watched her mother go from a self-sufficient woman to one who needed constant supervision. We could see this in Lu Ling's hoarding of magazines, leaving water running for days, and wandering to the streets at night. The 2nd Fostorian element I'm using is from Chapter 26 on ironies. The biggest irony I saw was the mother-daughter dynamic. At a young age, Lu Ling loved Precious Auntie despite what her family felt. But once she got older, Lu Ling began to turn on Precious Auntie too, saying she was only alive because her family was kind enough to let her stay with them. Eventually, Precious Auntie committed suicide due to the harmful words said by Lu Ling. Something similar happens to Ruth and Lu Ling. Ruth, growing up in America, finds her superstitious mother to be nosy and inferior. This irony could be seen as karma by giving Lu Ling a daughter much like a younger version of herself. The 2nd irony is suicide and the threat of suicide. Precious Auntie killed herself due to something Lu Ling had said to her. Lu Ling had never felt closure from that incident and it stayed with her even into adulthood. But that didn't stop Lu Ling from almost making the same mistake. When Ruth was a child, she wrote in a diary something similar to, "You always say you'll kill yourself, but you never do. Life would be better without you, so do it, do it, do it." This is an example of situational irony. Lu Ling is in the same shoes as her mother and was going to take the same path. But Lu Ling wasn't successful in killing herself, so unlike her mother, Lu Ling had to continue to live. My last Fostorian element is found in Chapter 12, Is That a Symbol? Lu Ling's mother, Precious Auntie, was left deformed and unable to speak after a failed suicide attempt. Many view this as a disability, but Precious Auntie felt quite the opposite, and eventually her silence became empowering. Only Lu Ling, who could understand her signs and expressions, could communicate with Precious Auntie, and that was all she needed. As for Ruth, it was revealed early in The Bonesetter's Daughter that Ruth lost her voice annually on August 12th. Ruth made her voicelessness her decision and began having a yearly retreat. This retreat helped Ruth inflect over the importance of words in the world. Many would view silence as a weakness, but for Precious Auntie and Ruth, it was their strength. It helped both of them learn discipline and thoughtfulness over their words. The final symbol is the oracle bone, which represents familial love. Ruth, Lu Ling, and Precious Auntie all come from a lineage of bonesetters. Their families had their own cave, the Monkey's Jaw, where they collected healing bones. Lu Ling was taken there by Precious Auntie as a child, and in doing so was introduced to her family and traditions. It's no coincidence that Lu Ling's first husband and true love, Kai Jing, was an archaeologist who uncovered oracle bones. Their love grew even after he passed, when Lu Ling etched his words, "You are beauty, we are divine, unchanged by time," onto an oracle bone. The ending is also significant because it takes place in a museum where Art, Ruth, Lu Ling, and Mr. Tang gathered in unity to look at an ancient oracle bone.